So what kind of challenges does Texas present? I know they got some big boys up on the front.
They do. They're a very talented team, obviously, and they're playing at a very high level right now. I think their aggressive defense. They come from a defensive head coach, so they're going to put a great emphasis on being a physical team and running to the ball and creating turnovers. And I think they've done exceptional job at that so far.
Talking to some of the guys who've been watching them now the past 2 weeks and guys who cover them, the cornerbacks seem to be at least a little bit, if one can say there's a weak spot, it seems like they're the weak spot. What have you seen out of their defensive backs?
I think they're very talented. I recruited a lot of them when I was at Texas A&M, and I know the talent that they got. They're very long corners. They're all 6 foot plus, and that puts a lot of length in that, and they can all run. I wouldn't consider that a weak spot on their defense. I think they've done a great job over the past few years, especially going up against them in recruiting. They've put a great job against some highly talented, highly recruited kids on the defensive spot.
Ran the ball 22 times, threw it 72 the other night. Is that something you guys want to maybe shift a little bit?
Oh, definitely. There was a lot of things that controlled that game. We were down 17 points, and that's one of the beautiful things of our offense. We can score pretty quickly at times, but you got to do it throwing the ball. But overall, you would like to be 50-50. We wanted to establish the run game. It wasn't working very efficiently at the beginning of the game. I think I ran it 6 or 7 times in the first quarter, and we probably had about 15 to 20 yards rushing. So that kind of, as a play caller, you kind of get discouraged of calling the run at that point. But when we went down 17 points, you got to keep throwing it around a bit, trying to get back into the lead, get back in the mix.
Running against guys that are as big and as strong as this, they're bigger and stronger than Texas. So how do you run more against a team that is perhaps tougher to run against?
Yeah, it's just schematically we just got to be in the right spots, and I think we got a good run plan for this week. Coach Jones has put together some great run plays, and of course you want to be a balanced team because I think that keeps the defense on their toes. But I think we're ready to do whatever is capable to try to get this W.
Davis, I think, has gone to Chad 35 point something odd percent of the time, and I think the targets are more, a little bit more than that. Is that something that, obviously he's comfortable going with Chad. Chad's proved that he can carry the load, but do you want it maybe, okay, listen, you have Demetrius over here, you have a 5-star and a 4-star over here.
I thought in this last game for San Diego State, you saw Davis start to go to other targets at certain times, which was great to see from a passing game standpoint. But I think Chad is still playing at a very high level. I think the continuity that those two got is pretty incredible. But you'd like to see the other guys step up. So, I think each week with these young receivers, hopefully another one will step up and make a name for themselves.
What did you see of Demetrius last week? Did he make a little bit of a jump from the first game?
A huge jump, and I think the bye week, you could see the strides that he took. Just that kid comes to work every single day, and you continuously see him get better each day. But in that San Diego State game, you saw him catch a long touchdown, and I think that's just going to build even more confidence in that kid.
Milk, he's a guy that you can get the ball in space and he can do things, but he hasn't had a lot of space to operate. Is that just based on the teams that you've faced, or is that something that you get maybe help along?
I think that's a lot to do with the teams that we face. That was kind of the message with the team this week is, there's a lot of people that are going to get opportunities to catch a ball and go play in space. But, when your opportunity comes, it may not happen very many times in one game, but there's going to be an opportunity, throughout the course of the season where there's going to be times where you're going to get a lot of catches.
And just back to the running game, you have guys who've had success against Texas. You have Calfani, who had, I think, 160 rushing yards against them last year.
Right.
How do you take into account what they did last year? Because I don't think the schemes have switched up too much, have they?
The schemes haven't changed too much. I think they might play a little bit differently based off of how we are right now offensively. I think our tendencies are kind of all over the place based off of throwing it around a lot versus San Diego State and running the ball more efficiently versus Hawaii. So I think that they're going to be pretty sound in what they're going to do. We have to find out pretty early in the game on what approach they're going to do with us. If you look at all their games, we got a lot of tape on them. We got all of their last season in the first 2 games of this year, and they play a lot of teams differently. So once you figure out what they are, we'll have a pretty good idea how they're going to play us.
Yeah. On another note, how much have you seen of Texas's offense? I know they run a lot more tempo this year, like you guys are doing.
Right. No, they do a very good job. Again, there was a lot of players that I was recruiting there at Texas A&M, so I'm pretty familiar with them. But they play at a very high tempo. They do a great job with the run game, and they take some shots. So it's going to be a shootout, I think, at times, where I think there's going to be a lot of possessions in this game.
How close are your offense versus what they're doing? They kind of seem to come from at least the same branch of that particular tree.
They are all very similar. That's just part of the whole Bryles tree, which kind of stems from what Coach Leach was doing at Texas Tech. But Sterling was at University of Tulsa, and with Coach Montgomery, who came from Bryles. So there is some similarities, but at the end of the day, they're kind of two different offenses.
Thanks.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks. I'll see you guys.